So up to till now we have created this form. Now there is one question for you. For what we create the form? We create the form for taking data from the users, right? So this data has to be passed to the server to process that data. And we will do using JavaScript, right? So how the JavaScript will access the data that users have entered. So for that we use name attribute. We give name to every input that we take, and using that name our JavaScript will identify which data we have to pass. So for that we use name attribute. We are going to create one form of this type having email, country and the password. First of all, let's create it. We have username and password, right? So change name to email. Where we have to go, label is change. We have to change label to mail. And after that we have the country name, right? Country. So copy it here. Copying this code. Control C. Control V. And changing the required thing. We have label for what? Country, right? So we will use phase 3. We are providing the we will provide the ID for this input. Type equal to we have text. This is text only. And the ID value which we are going to provide is this one, right? Because we are going to access for about this country cunt space cunt bar control V, and this is the required field and div tag. Saving it, how it is going to reflect, and refresh the page. So you can see the email and the name we have to change here. Password is only written, so we have to change it to country, right? For that we have to write here country. Control S and then refresh the page. So you can see now email, country and password. Now we are going to provide name to each of them. So we are providing the name to the input type. Here we are going to provide the name equal to, name attribute equal to, we are going to, for email we are writing email, and for name, and for country we are naming name equal to country, and for password we are going to write name equal to password. We can give any name, right? Just for using the transfer purpose, transfer the data from one place to another, we need name, right? We have named password, and this is what we have. For submit button, we can name as submit, right? Name equal to, no, this is not the data, right? This is not the data. Submit is not the data. So we are saving it. There will not be any change in the form, right? Because we have not given any functional requirement. Name is not the functional thing. We cannot see it. It is for transferring the data from one place to another. Now, you have seen that some of the things are by default they are filled. For example, sometimes country is already filled by default, something is filled. For that we use for default value. If the user has not entered anything, then for that default value we use we use value attribute, and we give value something, some value to it, right? Suppose we are giving India, right? So by default in country, in the form, country name will be named India only. So let's refresh the page and see it. You can see country name is already filled India, right? So if we want any default value, then we have to use the value attribute and give some value to it. Now, and if any person wants to change this value, then they can also change it, right? And give some email address. It is at the rate gmail.com. So this is how we can give the value, some password, and we can submit it, right? So this is what. Now here we can change the value of India, right? What if we don't want to get changed by the user? It must be there India only. For that we have to use the attribute named disabled, right? For that we have to use the attribute disabled under the input tag of, under the input element, we have to use the attribute disabled. So this is like the binary value only, boolean value only, disabled, and the required, these all fields are boolean value only. So if we write disabled, then user have no right to change the value from India to something else, right? So this is all about the attribute, the important attributes in making the form.